Learning is a lifelong process which starts at your birth and ends with your death. As a baby, you learn speaking and walking. In the school, you learn reading, writing and calculating. At university, you learn a lot of special things. And later at work and in your whole life, you learn something new every day. But what is learning? In this video, I'm going to show you what learning is, what the key principles of learning are, and what the PACT Learning Cycle is. Let's start with the question, what is learning? If we look at the definition of learning, we have to consider two sides. First, the biology, and second, the psychology. In biology, learning is the permanent building of new neuronal populations in the cortex of your brain. Every newborn has more or less 100 billions of neurons in their brain. These neurons are loosely connected with each other. In the first years of the baby's life, the brain grows from 250 grams to 750 grams. That's because of the learning of the baby. Through the learning, new connections are formed between the neurons, which leads to a new and closer network in their brain. This picture illustrates that. Here you can see the new connections between the different neurons in the brain. On the left picture are the nerve cells right after the birth. As you can see, there's a huge difference of the brain at different ages. Through these new connections of the nerve cells, your brain is creating a neuronal net. That net represents our lifelong learning experience. The thing we call learning is simply put the development and increase of existing nerve cells to a network of nerve fibers. If we look to the other side, then the psychology defines the learning process as follows. Learning describes the process of gaining experience and behavior which are affected by the interactions between us and our environment. There are two different ways of learning: the intentional learning and the casual learning. The ability to learn is possessed by humans, animals, and it's essential to adapt to the environment and to interact with each other. For example, when a person can make sense of content by interpreting it in his words, or when an individual can use his knowledge in combination with the skills he already has. In general, we can say that some learning is immediate, induced by a single event, for example, being burned by a hot stove, but much skill and knowledge accumulate for repeated experiences. Now we know what's behind the learning, and we can go one step further. The key concept of learning. There are a big range of theories that attempt to explain and demonstrate the way that people learn. Let's look at a few of them. Learning opportunities should, when possible, be linked to previous positive experience. The ability to learn is hardly linked to past experience. It involves self-awareness in the learner and empathy in the teacher. On the other hand, learning can be blocked by past negative experiences. Some people who hated school cannot bear to be in a classroom situation. The physical environment is another huge aspect of the learning success. This type of atmosphere proves supportive and emotionally positive to the learner. In group situations, a positive emotional and supportive environment is also important. Individuals in groups tend to learn best when they can socialize and interact with other group members. Instant rewards help. People learn best if the result and the rewards of learning are made clear and can be demonstrated during or immediately after the learning experience. Self-evaluation and reflective practice is important. Learners should be encouraged to reflect on the way they have learned and think about ways they can further their knowledge. After we've discovered what the key principles of learning are, we come to the main subject of today's video, the PACT Learning Cycle. A lot of scientists have tried to describe and understand the complex process of the human learning. The PACT cycle is one of them. As you can see, the cycle has 4 different stages: procure, apply, consider, and transform. Let's take a look to the first stage, procure. As the name says, this stage of the PACT cycle deals in procuring or gaining knowledge. In this stage, an individual gains new skills and know-how that will prove beneficial in the future. Apply. This stage of the PACT cycle deals with the application of the acquired knowledge and skills. The individual starts to apply the new knowledge to practice and become fluent. Consider. This stage of the PACT cycle deals in the evaluation of what an individual has learned. It's here that his knowledge and skills are assessed to know whether they are worthwhile or not. And at least transform. Here are made possible modifications. Whatever an individual has learned and practiced has already been considered and evaluated. Now is the time to modify the original know-how or the ability. As you can see, the PACT cycle is a cycle that keeps on repeating to facilitate the process of learning effectively. It demonstrates that gaining knowledge is an iterative process that keeps evolving and advancing to better human beings. In conclusion, we can say that learning is referred to as a growing process that helps in gaining experiences. It's one of the most important activities that a human being is engaged in and is often described as a method that can change our perception and behavior towards other human beings and our surroundings. If you have any questions about that, just let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.